Hadouken!
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
Perfect.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hello, welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company. Great news. This email thread has come to my attention. I don't know if it's been leaked on purpose or someone has intentionally leaked it to kind of break news on this particular proposal. It is an old email, but I suspect things are still going on in the background. Just to give you a little bit more information, I'm aware of the local authorities in San Antonio having a little bit of a falling out with the Boring Company. I don't know if that is in relation to this particular scheme or something else, but it might be that this is old news now, and it might not necessarily happen. There's been no solid proposals made for this particular project. All I know is it is kind of the ideas being floated. It's a great idea. I love this proposal. This is the best proposal the Boring Company has ever made since me covering this channel. By far and away the best proposal. It has all the elements of a great tunnelling project that not only will net the Boring Company a lot of money, will be fairly easy to build, can be built in stages, has got the support of Texas as a whole, has support of local residents, solves a problem. It does all the things that I think a project should do, and on top of that, the geology in this area is absolutely brilliant in terms of boring through, and I think that this potentially has got legs and could happen. So this is from Brian Gettinger. I'm not sure, so who's emailing here? It doesn't actually say who he's emailing is in the person's name. All we know is it's for the city of Kyle in Texas. So Brian Gettinger is kind of the marketing maverick, as it were, the hype man that the Boring Company are using out in the field to kind of push projects and to get things into the kind of proposal planning stage. Let's just read the email. So, hi Brian, looks solid to me. Would love a connection into downtown Austin. Once there's a plan for the overall plan, there's a plan for a plan. I love it. We need to know what the cost is to Kyle for the station. So straight away, what you can kind of glance from this email is the Boring Company is going to pay for the tunnels, but the local councils, the local cities or towns are going to pay for the stations. So the most expensive element, the Boring Company is saying, hey, you guys, you deal with it. You come up with a design. Maybe you bring in your own contractor or you contract us to do it, but possibly the latter, the former, sorry. And, you pay, 15, 16, 17 million dollars, probably more than that, $20 million to build your station, either in the middle of town or just out of town. And we'll just connect up the tunnels and then we'll own the tunnels. And that's just the perfect way to do it, because the difficult bit is basically you're outsourcing it to someone else. So if there's a problem there, it's not up to you. You don't need to worry about that. All the Boring Company needs to focus on is building quality tunnels at a fast rate, affordably, and that's the business model that they should focus on. So this straight away, gets me excited. We need to know what the cost is to Kyle for the station, so I presume that the cost will be passed on to the other towns along the route as well, and we can begin identifying a location and a funding plan. Hopefully it's slightly outside the centre of town, because I believe that's an easier place to build. Please let us know what our next step should be. And then we've got here actually from Brian. So wanted to keep you guys updated on progress here. I am meeting with Campo on the 25th. I talked to such and such last week, and he is pretty excited about potentially resurrecting the Lone Star Rail concept. That's kind of a good project that they should also build on top of this, but this certainly helps. I see the concept coming together like this. So here is the key kind of elements of this proposal. The Boring Company deploys individual systems in San Antonio and Austin. So I believe there's issues in San Antonio for building that individual system, but that doesn't necessarily need to be built prior to them, starting this. And Austin's obviously on board because the Tesla's in the area and they want to keep them happy. Development entities forms or reconstitutes to lead connection from San Antonio to Austin, collaborating with Texas Department of Transport to follow Interstate 35. And I'll show you on the maps later on where this is all going and where all these places are. So kind of like to summarize, there's basically 4 projects rolled into one. I will actually probably price them up as 4 individual projects rather than combining them. So I think that's the best way of kind of costing and kind of analysing this. So you've got Kyle to Austin, New Braunfels to San Antonio, Texas, San Marcos to Kyle, New Braunfels to San Marcos as well. So a lot of very, very interesting connections there. So there's a strange paragraph here which kind of makes me laugh, but you know, at least we know how they're operating. With the leaked articles about Austin, Texas and San Antonio, Texas, there is enough in public space for you to start having what-if conversations with folk. Just don't implicate me or the Boeing Company directly. Okay. The Boeing Company are most useful operating in the background, not at the front of the parade. So basically we're pushing ideas and concepts in the background, but we want you to be the front men, essentially. So I like this project. Why do I like this project? I've kind of explained why I like the kind of we do the tunnels, you do the stations bit, but just the kind of location first of all. So first of all, we're in a state, or the Boeing Company is in a state that is very pro kind of infrastructure and business, and wants the Boeing Company to build things, and they're not going to hamper them with ridiculous regulations like California or Chicago or New York. So you essentially have a very, very busy connection between Austin and San Antonio, and along that route you have these kind of commuter towns. Now we have these things in the UK where you live just outside a major city, and it's really ideal because you've got all the benefits of living in a small town and lower costs, but also then you can nip into the big city and you've got all the benefits of a big city. So I can see it, you know, why this is just a brilliant idea. By the way, all these towns here, Kyle, San Marcos and New Braunfels, are fast growing towns where people really want to live. Low crime rates, great schools, you know, lots of greenery. It's the perfect place to live, unlike some parts of a major city. So people want to live there. These populations are increasing rapidly. So by building a tunnel along here, you're only accelerating that, and people will ultimately want to, especially developers. So you remember in the past, the Boeing Company partnered with a load of VC firms and some property developers. This all makes a lot of sense now, an absolute mountain of sense, because those developers want this tunnel built here. They want the tunnel to be further expanded, and they will, in conjunction with that, build large scale, you know, 10, 15, 20 acre developments in these areas, hundreds of homes, and, you know, make an absolute mountain of cash. So this is kind of like the zoomed in version. Let's have a look at kind of the zoomed out version, so you've got an idea of where this is. So as you can see, San Antonio is a very fast growing city. Along the way you've got all these towns, and then you've got Austin, which is not quite as fast growing, slightly smaller, but is obviously a very important city in Texas. You've got Houston here to the east. The most important thing to remember is this route will follow Interstate 35, which is a very heavily congested route, and it's going to save people a lot of time and hopefully money as well, and just general aggro if they can cut their commuting time by, you know, 30, 40, maybe even 50 minutes, who knows. So that's the zoomed out version. Let's just have a look at where these towns are in relation to the big cities. So here is Austin. As you know, there was already a proposal for a project in Kyle, a very small project, which is a 650 foot railway underpass. That will explore the geology and kind of test the current TBM proof rock 2, and also the team will get some expertise, and obviously that will help them when they're connecting up Austin to Kyle. It's a great commuter town. You know, real estate values in Austin are very expensive, so having that link there is absolutely perfect. Again, it's following here Interstate 35 in the center of the screen. Let's have a look and see what else we've got. So we've got San Antonio here. As you can see, to the northeast we have New Braunfels. New Braunfels is exceedingly fast-growing town/city. I believe at some point in its most recent history, it was growing over 40% per decade, and it's not far from that now. So, you'd anticipate that will become quite a major city in the next 20 years. Again, very, very quick to get into San Antonio if you don't consider traffic. If there was no traffic, it would be, 30-minute drive, a lot less than 30 minutes probably, if you could put your foot down. But it's very close to San Antonio. If you can improve links into San Antonio, that's going to increase the value of property in New Braunfels. And as you can just see, again, northeast of New Braunfels is San Marcos, again, another fast-growing town. Interstate 35 looks like a very, very straight road as well, which, again, helps with tunnelling, in addition to the geology. So everything is kind of lining up perfectly on this particular project. Here is kind of like the overview. Let me just reduce my face a little bit. So the overall proposal is around 78 miles. I don't know where they're going to start and terminate. It might be slightly more than that. It might be slightly less than that. This is just a link between Austin and San Antonio, not the systems that are going to be individual to Austin and San Antonio. I think it could be as much as 82 miles potentially if they're going right into downtown of both cities. It's a great project. I'm really excited for this one. Hopefully this has not kind of been lost due to fallings out in San Antonio, but hopefully this is kind of going on in the background and it's being pushed and eventually will result in a solid kind of proposal. Even if they just built the connection from Austin to Kyle, that would kind of get the ball rolling, as it were. So Kyle is quite a small town of around 45,000, 46,000. Again, that could easily double over the next 20 years, maybe more. It could be beyond 110,000 potentially in the next 20 years. San Marcos could easily be 150,000 in the next 20 years. New Braunfels could be potentially 200,000 in the next 20 years. So these are areas of extreme growth that want connections into the major cities. Land is very in demand, and there's high kind of land costs in these major cities. So moving the demand to these smaller kind of towns and cities is ideal and will reduce commuting times and create lots and lots of jobs. So Austin is just under 1 million, although its growth is slowing down a little bit recently due to the lack of land. Land is in short supply. San Antonio, 1.434 million. Very, very fast growing city. I predict that will get to 2 million at some point in the very near future. This proposal is excellent. Really, really like this proposal. Let's hope Brian can keep pushing it in the background, and we do see something fairly soon. I'd say I'm 50-50 on this happening due to the falling out with officials in San Antonio, but there's no reason why a system couldn't be built between Austin, Kyle and San Marcos, and then maybe even New Braunfels, linking up Austin. There's no reason why they couldn't do that. I won't see why they would fall out with them over that particular kind of route and just exclude San Antonio. But I suspect officials can be brought around. I suspect they will. It's not an insane falling out where they're just not talking to each other. It's just that the proposals that have been made by the Boeing company have been, just rejected outright by San Antonio so far. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you're excited about the project. Please put in the links below, you kind of in the comments below what your thoughts are on this particular project. Do you like it? Do you want to see it built in stages? Do you want to see it built in one single piece? This is 78 miles, so if you have a machine that's capable of doing like a mile every week, or just under a mile every week, if you had 2 machines, you could get this done in under a year. Just think of that, well under a year, even including some delays here and there. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you on the next one. Remember, guys, don't be boring. Take care now, and have a good evening.
Damn, I'm good.
you've got to take big chances in order for the potential for a big positive outcome.